A Better Route Chapter 131. Fu had always said that there was almost nothing better than taking on a tough opponent and kicking the shit out of them. The problem was, ever since she got control of her Jinchuriki powers, there weren't many people who could really give her a run for her money that she didn't consider a friend. It wasn't like she could really fight those guys full on. Now the third Raikage, he was fair game and was more than enough to give her a great battle. When she jumped in front of the Raikage, he clearly wasn't impressed. A little girl? They're sending a little girl to try and take me down? Come on, people. You need to use some powerful wind jutsus if you want to stand even a chance against me. Fu's eye twitched a little bit. Oh, you did not just call me a little girl. You want a powerful wind jutsu? Well, here you go. Wind cutter technique. The deadly gust of wind shot from Fu's mouth and right at the Raikage. He actually rolled eyes at the attack as it hit, having almost no effect on him. It forced him to take a few steps back, but nothing else. A good attack, but useless on me. I hope you've got a lot more powerful attacks than that. Fu couldn't do anything but blink at how little the attack did. That should have cut him in half or at least left some kind of mark on him. There's no way in hell. The Raikage lifted up his hand, stuck 4 fingers out and started to head for Fu. A man with an eye patch saw this and jumped down in front of her and put his hand to his mouth. Rubber wall. Fu looked to see this rubber pour out of this man's mouth and create a wall that stopped the Raikage before he could strike. Who are you and what kind of bloodline is that? The man was carefully watching the wall for the Raikage. I'm Dodai and what you're seeing is my lava release. Fu raised an eyebrow. That's not lava. Dodai understood her confusion. Much like your dust release, lava release comes in multiple forms. Fu wondered how many forms of each bloodline there were, but was also wondering something else as well. So can't you just use your rubber to take him out? I mean, rubber beats electricity, right? Dodai noticed the wall was starting to crack. Normally I would say yes, but when it comes to the third that isn't that case. The wall busted open and now the Raikage was holding up 3 fingers instead of 4. Is there some kind of things with the fingers or what? Dodai did his best to elaborate. That would be his hell jab. It concentrates the force of his attack to his fingers, gaining strength each time he takes a finger away. Fu got her flying swallow ready. In that case, I need to finish this guy fast. She activated her wings and flew right for the Raikage with her attack ready. Fu got right next to him and slashed at the Raikage hard. However, she was slashing at nothing but air as the Raikage was no longer there. He had gotten right behind her and in an instant smacked across the battlefield. Fu scowled. Not only is he super strong and have a great defense, he's also crazy fast too. This fight is gonna be awesome. Shirsue's death had been one of the most horrible events in Itachi's life. Of course that was why he'd gotten the Mangekyo Sharingan in the first place. Itachi had watched as Shirsue gave up everything, even himself, to protecting his village. It had hurt Itachi greatly to watch it, but Shirsue insisted that he was okay. Now there was chance for Itachi to see him again, and there was some things he just had to say to him. Still, he was curious as to why Madara had Shusui revived. Both his eyes were gone, one taken by Danzo and one had been given to Itachi who'd had it placed in a vault years ago. There was no way Shirsue could still be a threat, right? Itachi's confusion only got worse when he actually got to Shirsue, as had his headband over one eye, and a Sharingan in the other. That's not possible. Shirsue, how do you have one of your eyes? Shirsue gave a little laugh. All these years and that's the only question you've got for me? Itachi felt a twinge of guilt at that part. Sorry, but that really should be possible. I thought both of those eyes were destroyed. It wasn't Shirsue who answered the question, it was a Zetsu clone. You Leaf villagers really should have made sure that I was still in Danzo's head before you burned his body. I mean you check it when you first got it back to Leaf but not before you burned the body itself. All the head Zetsu had to do was get under him and take the eye. We knew it would be of use eventually and we were right. Itachi was about to ask him another question when a giant green drill-like lance began to descend upon him. He created some Susanoo hands and caught the lance before it could hit him. Nice to see you haven't lost your touch. Shursui had his Susanoo active while he warned Itachi, I might be more powerful than ever. Whatever you do, don't. Itachi finished, look you in the eye, I know Shursui. If I do you can control me completely with your Koto Amatsukami. Shursui was glad he remember. His Koto Amatsukami was what had made Shursui's eyes so valuable in the first place. It allowed to control a person's mind completely and they wouldn't even know he was doing it. However, just like any Sharingan-based genjutsu, he had to look you in the eye for it to work. If Itachi could avoid doing that, then he would stand a chance of beating Shursui. Thing was though, now Itachi had to spend almost his entire time looking at the ground during this fight. Not a good place to be looking in a life or death situation. The first thing Itachi did was make some Susanoo beads and fire them in the area he knew Shursui had been. Shursui made a shield in his Susanoo's hand and tried to block the beads. They made some cracks in defense which wasn't good as Itachi was now swinging at him with his Susanoo fist, his eyes never leaving the ground. He was going completely off of his other sense to find his old friend. Shursui got the wind knocked out of him but was happy Itachi was doing so well. He might just win this fight yet. Sasuke had spent years of his life feeling like something was being hidden from him. He would ask Itachi to tell him about the Uchiha clan and what exactly it was that had Tsuchiya wanting to destroy them, but his brother would usually only give him vague answers. Usually something along the lines of, the Uchiha's past is one few people truly know Sasuke. Like all clans, there are some things about it that are better left in the dark. That wasn't nearly enough for Sasuke, especially considering what that implied. Was there something the Uchiha clan had done that was horrible enough to warrant that? Only his meeting with Otsuka could tell. He found Otsuka waiting for him in a small clearing. Literally, it appeared Otsuka had actually been waiting for him to arrive. "'Bout time you got here, kid. I know that symbol on your back, that means you're an Uchiha. That means you've got some question to answer for me." Sasuke figured he'd play up the situation, "Fine, but only if you answer mine too." Otsuka nodded in agreement but still sent a fireball Sasuke way since he was under Black Orochimaru's control. "You've got yourself a deal, but I get my answer first." Since he'd have to seal Otsuka away when this is all done, Sasuke didn't really have a choice. He also didn't have a choice but jump out of the way of flaming ball of death hurtling at him. "What do you want to know?" Otsuka asked as he began to make hand seals. "What happened to my pathetic son, Obito?" He slammed his fist into the ground as well. Boulder bombs jutsu. Circular rocks began to rise from the ground and head towards Sasuke. He took out his blade and channeled his lightning chakra into while he sliced the boulders in half, making a note that along with a fire Otsuka could use earth jutsus easily as well. "I wouldn't call our current Hokage pathetic if I were you." Otsuka couldn't have looked more shocked. That worthless little traitor ended up as Hokage? Sasuke rushed Otsuka with his sword and tried to cut him in half at the waist. "He's anything but worthless. He's taught all the remaining Uchiha and we're all incredibly strong." Otsuka tried to back away from the strike but still got a rather nice cut on his gut. He didn't bleed though as he was reanimated. "Remaining Uchihas? How many of us are left?" Sasuke flipped the blade around and stuck it in Otsuka's shoulder, channeling as much electricity through it as he could, for with one more on the way. Otsuka cringed at the attack and grabbed Sasuke's wrist, pulling the offending weapon out of his shoulder. He made more hand seals and put his hands on the ground, for, how in the hell are there only 4 of us left? The earth began to rise up where his hands had been placed, Stone Dragon. Just as the name would suggest, a large dragon made completely from the earth beneath their feet began to attack Sasuke. He made a Susanoo ribcage which shattered the dragon when it hit. It was your wife, I think her name was Tuhiya. She killed almost everyone in our clan. Otsuka was starting to think the kid was screwing with him, like that weak little bitch could never pull that off. She was weak ninja who couldn't manage to give so much as one strong son. I had toughen up Obito the hard way. And Wahiko, my god, he was just pathetic. He couldn't even take his punishments. Sasuke was starting to see what kind of person this guy was. Wait a second, are you saying you used to beat your own family and killed your own son? Otsuka scoffed, I didn't kill him, his own weakness killed him. You have to be strong to survive in the Uchiha clan. Or has the Uchiha clan forgotten that? Sasuke's eye started to twitch. How were you even allowed to stay in the clan? Otsuka chuckled darkly, I may have been on the more extreme side of clan, but I wasn't the only one doing it, kid. The Uchihas always made sure to weed out the weak. As far as I'm concerned, you aren't even a really Uchiha. Sasuke was fuming, shut the hell up. Otsuka laughed, I bet you don't even know anything about the real Uchiha clan, do you? Sasuke raised up his Susanoo bow, drop dead, see you in the next one.